So our mission today at Surgical, we need to dissect Group 203. 4 contenders, only 2 advance. Understanding why one album scraped through and another just missed out, that's the key.
Yeah, unlocking the reviewer's whole philosophy, really.
Definitely.
And Group 203 is, well, it's a fantastic mix, a real collision of genres, forcing these completely different styles head to head.
So who are the contenders fighting for those 2 spots?
Okay, we've got Queen with Greatest Hits 3, a compilation. Then there's the alternative metal group Breaking Benjamin with Dear Agony.
Okay.
We also have Funeral for a Friend, hardcore emo with Casually Dressed and Deep in Conversation.
Right.
And rounding it out, the early 2000s R&B pop group Mis-Teeq with Eye Candy. Quite the lineup.
A real mix, as you said. And the source, as it often does, gave us this wonderfully dramatic headline. Kind of spoiled the whole thing right away.
Yeah, it did. What was it again?
It was titled, Queen prefer ear candy to eye candy, and Breaking Benjamin are agony for funeral for a friend.
Ouch. Yeah, that pretty much lays it all out.
Doesn't it? It's not just a title. It's the whole story. It tells you Mis-Teeq and Funeral for a Friend didn't make the cut. Okay, let's unpack this. Let's get into the details of the win and the loss. Right. Before we even get to the music itself, we have to understand the rules of the game here. This album quest, it's not just someone's favorite playlist. It's an elimination bracket. So what are the core mechanics? How does Greens to Rocks run this thing?
Well, the mechanics are pretty intense. Albums get thrown into these random groups. Group 203 is our focus, obviously. Yeah. And then they face this strict ranking, first best down to fourth worst within that group. And the rule is absolute. Only the top 2 move on to round 2.
Only the top 2?
Yeah, the bottom 2, they're just out, eliminated from the whole quest. No second chances, no almost made it. It's advance or fail, basically.
I find the reviewer's approach really interesting because it's not just like detached critical analysis, is it?
Not at all.
It's this mix of serious assessment, real humor, very personal takes, and sometimes this almost gut-level reasoning. It's quite dynamic.
That blend is absolutely crucial, I think. It factors in the human side of listening, you know. A purely objective review might miss things like listener fatigue or just the emotional kickback.
Right.
This reviewer, they include that. They might eliminate a complex album just because, well, it makes you feel exhausted. That's the kind of insight pure criticism often skips over. It gets to a deeper truth about actually living with the music.
And that leads us right into the core philosophy that seems to govern this whole quest, especially when you look at the close calls in Group 203.
Yeah.
It's this vital difference they make between originality and listenability.
Yes. This is the absolute central tension. We have to keep this in mind. The reviewer explicitly separates them. You don't have to be groundbreaking to rank high, especially not in these early rounds.
Okay.
Originality might be needed to win the whole thing eventually, maybe. But solid, reliable, consistent listenability, how enjoyable, how easy it is to just put on and listen to, that's often enough to grab a qualifying spot over something more ambitious, but, you know, flawed.
That raises a big question, though, doesn't it? Is the quest, in a way, rewarding playing it safe? If consistent enjoyment, even if it sounds like something else, beats artistic originality, are we kind of penalizing artists who push boundaries?
That's a really good point.
You know, artists who might have moments of brilliance, but also sections that are challenging or difficult. It feels like the framework could potentially reward polish over pioneering spirit.
That is precisely the tension that decided the middle ranks in this group, Group 203. The methodology totally allows for a derivative album, if it's flawlessly executed, to beat a unique one that has some rough edges. The main measure here really seems to be sustained enjoyment across the whole album.
Okay, that sets the stage perfectly for the elimination battle then. The bottom half of Group 203, 2 totally different albums fighting it out for third and fourth. Let's dive into that. Pop versus emo. Okay, let's start at the bottom. Fourth place, definitively last in Group 203. Mis-Teeq's Eye Candy. The reviewer admitted going into this one with pretty low expectations, probably genre bias or assuming it was just commercial fluff.
Yeah, and that low expectation actually kind of helped the album at first.
Yeah.
Because it delivered a genuine, pleasant surprise.
Right.
And in this quest context, when an album really outperforms your initial assessment, it scores immediate points on that subjective enjoyment scale.
So what specifically surprised them? It wasn't just generic pop, apparently. The source mentioned the specific blend.
Right. It was described as Sugar Babes-style dance pop, which implies something a bit more sophisticated, maybe slightly darker than typical bubblegum pop.
Yeah.
But then mixed with Caribbean-fused hip-hop beats. That combination gives it this infectious, polished, but still distinct commercial sound. The hip-hop influence adds real texture and punch, stopping it from being too sweet.
The source also pointed out what they called a massive weapon for Mis-Teeq, Alicia's rapping.
Yes, absolutely crucial. In that pop scene, rap verses were often, tacked on or done by a male feature. Alicia bringing legitimate, skilled, exciting rap elevated the whole thing.
She had real talent within the group itself.
Exactly. And it wasn't just her. The review noted the melodic skill of the other singers, too. It felt like a proper unit delivering a tight product.
Speaking of tight product, you can't talk Eye Candy without mentioning the anchor single, Scandalous.
Oh yeah, that track was clearly the engine driving the album's strength. Described as that truly impressive dance pop anthem. It's just massive, super infectious, really justifies the album's place in that early 2000s pop world. It must have given the reviewer a huge initial quality boost.
But despite the surprise, despite Scandalous, it still ended up in fourth. The core criticism was specific and ultimately fatal.
Yeah, the main knock was that the album felt a bit samey in a couple of places. While nothing made the reviewer want to actually turn it off, it's not bad that slight repetition, the lack of real dynamic shifts outside the big singles, dragged down its overall listenability score. In an elimination round where consistency is apparently king, that little bit of sameness was enough. It finished fourth, eliminated. The commercial pop, while surprisingly decent, just didn't have the legs.
Okay, so the commercial pop gamble failed due to repetition. Now, let's flip to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Third place finisher. Funeral for a Friend. Casually dressed in deep in conversation. That band name alone.
A massive clue, right? Funeral for a Friend. This is hardcore emo. From Wales, specifically.
Intensely specific, you said. Their 2003 debut, described as unforgiving emo rock. That word unforgiving really jumps out.
It does. It suggests it's not just sad rock, it's demanding. The music is dense, described as quite grunge-heavy at times, so weighty guitars, distortion, a lot of angst baked into the sound.
The reviewer gave some good comparisons to place it in that emo landscape.
Yeah, really helpful signposts. Musically, they said it was like early My Chemical Romance or early Alkaline Trio.
Okay, so complex structures, intense vocals, switching between singing and screaming.
Exactly. Technically proficient, darker than your average pop punk. And then lyrically, the comparison was to Panic at the Disco or The Academy is, suggesting complex stories, emotional drama. It's aiming high, trying to be both musically challenging and lyrically deep.
But let's get back to that key issue, the cost of listening. Despite acknowledging the musical craft, the reviewer felt taxed by it.
This is where the subjective criteria really bite. The reviewer admitted the album is rewarding, it has decent passages of music, shows subtle musical craft, the depth is recognized. But the final feeling after listening, slightly exhausted once it's over, it's an emotional marathon. That unforgiving nature, whether it's the screaming, the track length, the sheer emotional weight, it stops it from being a consistently enjoyable listen, according to this reviewer.
It's fascinating. The same fist but inoffensive album lost to the ambitious but draining one.
Yeah.
But both got eliminated. It shows the reviewer tolerates complexity over repetition, but only up to a point. If it becomes a burden, it fails.
Precisely. The ambition of Casually Dressed saved it from last place, showed a higher artistic potential than Eye Candy, but the exhaustion factor was its downfall. In this quest, if the music demands too much from you, it seems it risks falling below that baseline of consistent, reliable enjoyment. So Funeral for a Friend, third place, eliminated.
So the safe pop lost to the ambitious drain. Now let's move up to the album that successfully navigated Group 2A3, grabbed that second qualifying spot, and proved its quality easily betters the two we just discussed. All right, stepping confidently into second place. Breaking Benjamin with Dear Agony. Didn't win the group, but its success really highlights that whole listenability principle we talked about.
Oh, absolutely. This album is practically a textbook example of the reviewer's philosophy in action. Dear Agony works so well here because it hits that sweet rock spot between heavy and melodic.
Sweet spot, like that.
Yeah. It's rock music, but polished to the nth degree. It delivers consistently strong, emotionally resonant, but also really accessible tunes, start to finish. Clean production, powerful vocals, heavy enough to have punch, but never really alienating or tiring.
Okay, but we have to tackle the elephant in the room, the originality critique. The reviewer explicitly called the sound evanescent CC, and flat out said the band is not exactly original.
And this goes right back to your earlier question about risk aversion, doesn't it? Breaking Benjamin operates squarely within familiar rock territory stuff popularized by Evanescence, maybe Godsmack, Linkin Park in terms of structure.
Right.
They aren't innovators, they're refiners. They perfect the formula. But, according to this reviewer's logic, that perfection in execution, even if it sounds familiar, beats the exhaustion caused by flawed ambition. Originality is nice, but listenability gets you through the qualifiers. Dear Agony is proof. Reliable quality control wins the day.
So consistency is the name of the game for them, not breaking new ground.
Yeah.
How did the reviewer illustrate this unwavering quality?
They use this great visual analogy. It really sticks with you. They said if you charted the quality of Dear Agony from the first note to the last fade out, the line would just be a straight line.
A straight line. Wow, that says a lot about the experience. No sudden dips, no filler tracks dragging things down, no moments that make you work too hard. Just dependable, enjoyable rock.
Exactly. Compare that straight line to, say, Funeral for a Friend, maybe peaks of craft, but also troughs of density leading to exhaustion. Or Mis-Teeq, one huge peak with Scandalous, and maybe a long, slightly flat plateau. Breaking Benjamin just offers this high, consistent floor of quality for the whole 46 minutes.
Were there specific tracks mentioned that showcased this, that confirmed both the melody and the heaviness in that sweet spot?
Yes. 2 were highlighted to show the range. First, the essential rock ballad centerpiece, Anthem of the Angels, gives you that soaring emotional moment, but still super polished.
Okay.
And then the strong rocker, I Will Not Bow, that's the aggressive driving track, but it still keeps that melodic accessibility. Having both those kinds of tracks done well proves Dear Agony delivers both power and feeling reliably.
So Breaking Benjamin didn't need to be original, just consistently, flawlessly enjoyable. A level of polish the bottom 2 just couldn't sustain. Dear Agony takes second place, advances to round 2. Yeah. Solid runner-up.
A totally deserved spot. Based on the criteria, it confirms the rule. Predictable, high-level enjoyment beats complex exhaustion and pop repetition in this quest.
Which brings us finally to the undisputed and, let's be honest, unsurprising champion of Group 203, rock royalty, Queen. Queen's Greatest Hits 3 took first place. Okay, maybe not a shocker given the band, but the context here is still important. The reviewer immediately sets this almost impossible standard, noting that volumes 1 and 2 were utterly stupendous.
Yeah, stupendous. That's a terrifying bar for Volume 3 to clear.
Right.
And the reviewer acknowledges that, says you'd be forgiven thinking that the Queen material train may start running out of steam by the 3rd compilation.
I mean, logically, the deeper cuts, the B-sides, the posthumous stuff, surely the quality has to dip after 2 volumes of wall-to-wall mega hits.
But apparently not. The verdict, the Queen train is unstoppable. And the source gives this fantastic reason why. It's pure philosophy, almost rock and roll gospel. The Queen steam train, Queen train, keeps on coming. It doesn't run out of steam because it's powered by rock and roll, and we all know that rock and roll will never die.
I love that.
It's more than just praise, right? It's saying the quality is tied to the fundamental power of the genre itself, and Queen just mastered it. That inherent strength immediately puts it leagues above Breaking Benjamin's polish, just by virtue of rock pedigree.
So let's talk about what's actually on Volume 3, because it's not your standard hits collection. The source calls it a completionist collection. What does that mean in terms of tracks?
It means it's basically an archival cleanup operation, but like the most high-quality cleanup imaginable. Because all the massive defining hits are on 1 and 2, Volume 3 gathers the truly excellent stuff that was kind of on the edges.
Okay.
So you get this really rich mix. Important remixes, key live tracks capturing their stage magic, significant solo work from the band members, and tracks pulled right from that huge Freddie Mercury tribute concert featuring massive guest stars.
Wow, that sounds less like an album and more like a historical document of an era.
It really does. And they even, as you said, threw in a curveball.
It's a Christmas number.
Yeah, a festive track. It just underlines the commitment to getting everything high quality associated with the Queen brand from that period, no matter the genre or season.
Okay, let's walk through some specific tracks mentioned, just to illustrate the quality we're talking about here. How does a compilation of essentially leftovers grab you right away?
Well, it opens with an absolute emotional gut punch. The show must go on, but the version with Elton John on vocals.
Wow.
A critical inclusion, a statement piece. The reviewer calls it a cracking performance, and even notes that Elton has to visibly strain a little bit to hit those incredibly high Freddie Mercury notes.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But that straining just highlights the emotional power and the sheer difficulty of Queen's music. It's a killer opening that instantly justifies the whole collection.
From that powerful start, it becomes a showcase for the band's reach, their collaborations, their solo genius.
Exactly. You get right into the extended Queen universe. There's the Under Pressure remix, essential nod to Bowie, then the unbelievable operatic power of Barcelona, the duet with Montserrat Caballé, still stunning.
Absolutely.
And then the key solo tracks proving the talent ran deep. Too Much Love Will Kill You, The Grandeur of Heaven for Everyone, Roger Taylor's Driven by You, Freddie's own massive Living on My Own.
And the reviewer explicitly said that after that run of tracks, the quality level hasn't dipped one iota, which is just incredible for a third hits volume.
It really is. It confirms that even their deep cuts and solo stuff operates at a level far beyond the competition in Group 203. It's the gold standard.
There was one inclusion, though, a very modern one, that the reviewer flagged as controversial, even though they liked the track itself.
Yes, the Wyclef Jean version of Another One Bites the Dust. The reviewer thought it was fun, well-produced, a decent modern take, but the controversy was about its place on a greatest hits volume, especially a completionist one. Does a modern remix, which really changes the original, belong alongside historical artifacts like Barcelona or the Elton John track? It shows the reviewer applying this rigorous standard, thinking about historical integrity as well as just, is it a good song?
So the final verdict on Volume 3, was it perfect?
Yeah.
Flawless?
Not quite flawless, no. The reviewer concluded it's probably not quite as good as Volumes 1 and 2, which is saying something, given the quality here. A microscopic difference, really. But the key finding is it is definitely the best here. The sheer depth, that rock foundation, the sustained quality. It guarantees first place. Queen advances easily.
Okay, we've mapped the journey of Group 203 pretty thoroughly. Let's just formally recap the final ranking. Who moved on? Who went home in this album quest?
The hierarchy is clear and absolute. Number 1, Queen, Greatest Hits 3. Number 2, Breaking Benjamin, Dear Agony. Those two advanced to round 2.
And the eliminated.
Number 3, Funeral for a Friend, Casually Dressed and Deep in Conversation. And number 4, Mis-Teeq, Eye Candy. Both are out of the competition.